Hi, everybody. So, what I was going to do here, on some Facebook group, I saw somebody using what's called Webcamtaxi, okay, as like an extension to Weather Talk. I usually do like a warm up in the activity at the beginning of the hour. Sometimes it could vary. Sometimes it's just a question around the room and the virtual room, and then afterwards I talk about the calendar for a minute and I talk about the weather. And then, but I don't know, after a while, for those who do it, maybe it kind of gets a little boring after a while for the students and yourself, talking about the calendar and the weather talk every day extensively. So maybe, eventually you could just shorten it a little bit more. And then add like webcam talk as your third thing, maybe. Every single day I do mainly the same thing to start off the class. So if I go ahead, we'll take a look at this in a minute. But maybe I'll do like a sample example on virtual, because some students or some teachers are talking about how they're not getting enough responses from students on virtual platform. And, maybe I'll just kind of like, because I'm not going to record my students' voices and everything and put this up anywhere. So maybe I can just, go through like how I present to my class, and then tell you how they're responding to me in real time. All right. And just like how things just kind of flow, I guess. So yeah, if you look here, could be like a warm up. I teach Spanish 2 all day. Well, it's like Spanish 1.5 because when we closed down during the pandemic in March. So, but here's a warm up question. So we start off with, what did you do during the weekend? Right. And then I give them a whole bunch of options. Okay. And then they just go ahead and respond when I call on everybody randomly. ¿Qué hiciste durante el fin de semana? And I go ahead and I say something. I say, descansé, hice ejercicios, and then I just go around the room, okay, virtually. So I'll say the question again. ¿Qué hiciste durante el fin de semana? Cameron unmutes his mic and says, I went to the movie theater. Okay, muy bien. Kayla, and then she says, I worked. Okay, muy bien. Oh, I don't know. Cameron, por favor. And then he says, I slept, so on and so forth. And, it doesn't take too long for them to unmute their mic and say something. And if they're not comfortable, they can just write the answer in the chat to everyone, okay, as well. But my experience, 90% of them, they don't turn their cameras on, but they will unmute their mic and say something. So after we do this, about maybe 12, 13 kids, okay, I have another computer here with all their pictures and black boxes and cameras if they have them on, and I'm logged in twice and I can see all my class, all 33 of them. Then we move on. So that takes a couple minutes, right? And then, whoops, yeah, that was from, I do that one a lot on a Monday. And then we move on to calendar talk. One of my videos, you already saw me doing this and explaining it at great length. But so I say, okay, clase, it's, es diciembre. Hoy es miércoles. Es el 2 de diciembre. El último mes de el año 2020, right? The last month of 2020. And I say, hey, ¿cuántas semanas hay en diciembre? And sometimes I'll just answer myself and they're just listening to me. But then I could say, or I could be asking them. So, ¿cuántas semanas hay en diciembre? And then I'll pause for a minute because some people start putting 5, in the chat. But then I just give them options to make it kind of either or for those who can't answer directly the question. Okay. And they say 5, 5, 5 all the way down, cinco, cinco, cinco. Then after that, here's the weather, right? So I'll say, class, what is the weather like in Metro Detroit today? I'm like, hey, class, look, it's 40 degrees. The temperature's 40 degrees. It's sunny. It's cloudy a little bit. Not really, but yesterday, ayer estaba nublado. Yesterday was cloudy, and pero hoy no está nublado. Hace sol. Yesterday, ayer, hacía sol, right? And snowing, nevava, right? And just talk about now, however long you want to do this. I fly through this stuff at this point now, especially if it was Spanish 1, I would probably fly through this quite fast after about, I don't know, a couple weeks already into calendar and weather talk. and move on and keep it like shorter, and I don't talk about it as much, but we still talk about it. It's always just warm up, calendar, weather, right? And then we go into special person interviews for 10 questions. But if you want, you can make this a little shorter. Once you've done calendar and weather talk and you don't want to spend as long as you used to on it, shorten it up a little bit, move on. Okay, so calendar and weather, I probably talk it through and interact with the kids with both at this, probably a minute, 2 minutes tops, and then I move on at this point. Okay. So this is what I'm going to try to start doing. And then we could say, okay, let's explore. Vamos a explorar, someplace, algún lugar en el mundo, in the world. Okay. So webcamtaxi.com will get you there. And so maybe we can click on the map and go venture off into somewhere. Okay, so there it is. And it's in real time too. There's the sun in this part of the world, and it's pretty much dark in the rest of this part of the world right now as we speak at 3:27 in the afternoon. So probably people in India are sleeping currently, or Japan, right? And yeah, and these are all the places that have like a webcam going on right now. And so I don't know, you might say, I don't know, there's quite a few ways you can do this. I guess I'm still gonna, I just implemented it today in class. You might come over here and say, okay, class, where should we explore, in Spanish, in the target language. And then you might, call somebody or give 3 options, ¿Dónde vamos a explorar? Kansas, Texas, or New Mexico, and then I call on somebody, or they volunteer in the answer. Or if you got like A, B, or C as an option poll in Zoom, then you just, and see what the majority of students would like to go. You could do that. Class A, A for Cuba, B for Dominican Republic, or C, Panama. Okay. And then they choose, share, and so you could do it that way, I guess, or you can just kind of call somebody randomly and say, where do you want to go? ¿Dónde quieres ir? Or, okay. And let's say they choose, right. Or just give them options, because this might be overbearing. Like, wow, look at all these places. Okay. Even if you go to, the countries list, okay, you have a whole bunch right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and say, I don't know, let's just go to Mexico. Mexico. Okay. And then I will pick out which one I want at this point, because I'm not going to do everything. We're not going to do a beach every single time, right? Or over a highway. There are a lot of those, but it's kind of mixed. You'll see other things. One is like placed in, there's like in Montana, there's a camera of like a bison out in the field. All right. But yeah, so we can go to what? I don't know. Let's just do the beach for a minute. So we can go to, yeah. Now you don't want to be just wasting time and trying to find a place. If you can do it really quickly and just click something and start talking about it, or, you give them 3 choices, right? And then you've already looked at these ahead of time, so you know exactly to which one you're going to. Okay. I don't know. as I'm looking for here. Okay, we're off to Cabo San Lucas. So I click, and now this will go a lot faster. I mean, it's boom, boom, boom. All right, in class in real time, depending on how much you're going to prepare ahead of time. So then I can just talk in the language, like, hey, class, look, what is there? And they all say la playa. Okay, muy bien. Or I can just say, clase, look, mira, hay muchas personas en la playa in Mexico. And that's the Pacific Ocean. And there's some mountains in the background. And, there's some people in the water. It's warm out. Okay. And then up here, they can see the military time. So you can just quickly say, class, what time is it? ¿Qué hora es? And then you can just, transpose and say it's 1:30 in the afternoon. Es la 1:31. Okay. And the temperature's in Celsius, but you can just, if you're pretty, or maybe you just write out roughly what temperature it is too in Fahrenheit. Okay. Like 85, 80 some degrees, what have you. Okay. This one has sound. Some don't have sound. So, but there you go. You can kind of do a little bit of talk, an extension of the weather, or simply just talk about what else is going on in there. And for example, I did my first trial thing with my students the other day. I went to Iraq, and I picked one that was the students were in a mosque. There were people in the mosque, and say, hey, class, mira, es una mezquita en Iraq. Y bueno, hay muchas personas aquí. There are many people, kids, people in here. Look, there's children, los hijos y los padres. Okay. And so on and so forth. So, however long you want to do that, and, add that to calendar, weather, and yeah. So, warm up, calendar, weather, webcam, special person interviews, whoever it is going to be for the day, and then the rest of your day. And if you're doing some sort of thematic unit or novel reading or what have you, clip chat, and that's it. So I'm trying to stop share right now. So there you go. Kind of a little bit of some ideas for you. So check it out. Maybe Webcamtaxi. Webcamtaxi.com, and, play around with it and see, maybe, do this in an extension to your weather talk. I did Buenos Aires, Argentina this morning, and one of the cameras was the avenue, the whatever, Cinco de Julio. What's the avenue called? Avenida. I should know. I went to Argentina once, but I don't remember the exact name of the avenue. Anyways, all right. And I talked about the cars and the streets and, all the trees lighting up, and then the monument in the middle of the street, right? And mucho tráfico and, things like that. All right. So I guess that's about it. So maybe you can add this to your, your day to get another thing into your daily synchronous Zoom lessons. All right. Peace out.